Hey, hope you're well everyone. This is Arya from That Blasted Salami, here to bring you another update on this week's fighting game news. Beyond the Summit, one of the most prestigious grassroots organizations in the Smash Bros. Competitive scene, has today, through its founder LD, announced that it would cease operations shortly. In a heartfelt letter, LD explains the trials and tribulations the organization faced from the very start, and particularly over the last few years, whilst also celebrating the incredible work they were able to create for Smash. Over the long history of fighting games, there are few villains as memorable as Bison, or Vega as he's known in Japan, fondly called Dictator to avoid any misunderstanding about his name. Bison has been around since Street Fighter II and has served as the major antagonist in most Street Fighter games. However, we can now say with some certainty that Street Fighter V was the Dictator's last outing, and he's unlikely to show up in the series again, at least for any sequels. This was revealed thanks to a Twitter user called Scotia, who did his best to translate the official Street Fighter V Climax Arts plus 0 to 6. This art book features concept art for Street Fighter V, 6, and Street Fighter 0. Most importantly, it features developer comments on all the Street Fighter V characters. These comments came from Ryuichi Shigeno, who was part of the combat design team for Street Fighter V, and Takayuki Nakayama, who served as the director of the game. While they made comments on every single character, the ones made on Bison were the most telling. According to Nakayama, the character design was made to show an aging Bison who is at his strongest and also at his end. Of course, this isn't official confirmation, but for now it seems we won't be seeing Bison for quite some time. Last week we got our first taste of some continuous Tekken 8 gameplay with Kazuya's trailer. Bandai Namco seems keen on keeping the hype train going by also showing us Jin Kazama's potential. Here he seems to have fused with his devil alter ego, and seemingly even nabbing a few moves off of Lars, who Jin allied with at the end of Tekken 7. Again, no release date for Tekken 8 in sight yet. The American esports organization, XSET, plans to continue developing into fighting games, and stated that during 2023, we should expect more names in the club signing list. XSET plans to sign new pro players and content creators into as of yet unnamed disciplines. No other details have been reported yet. Tweek, one of, if not the best Diddy Kong player for Smash Ultimate, was let go from the TSM organization. This means the only fighting game player in the TSM roster is now Leffen. With MK Leo also becoming a free agent last week, we can only hope that these top players can land on their feet at a new organization soon. Shinobism Gaming, which is co-headed by legendary Street Fighter player Momochi, announced that it was parting ways with 3 of its fighting game players, namely Eita, Otani, and Haitani. This is somewhat big news, as Haitani is considered one of the fabled Japanese gods of fighting games. He saw a lot of success in Street Fighter IV with a terrifying Makoto, who was fast and aggressive. Haitani has remained active throughout Street Fighter V, but never quite recaptured the heights of his Street Fighter IV days. In a Twitter post, Shinobism wished all 3 players the best of luck in the future. Haitani also took to his personal Twitter account to thank Shinobism for its support and all the fans that were there for him during his journey. Meanwhile, Otani announced that he'd be joining the team Burning Core for the foreseeable future. A gameplay trailer for Anila, a character for the upcoming Granblue vs. Rising, has been released. Anila fights with a spear-like sword and has pretty hilarious moves, many of which are based on summoning sheep of different sizes. The trailer also confirmed that we'll get something interesting during EVO Japan, which runs from March 31st to April 2nd, where Granblue vs. is highlighted as one of the main titles. This weekend, Red Bull Gaming Sphere in London hosted one of the most unusual Tekken 7 events on our calendar, Red Bull Golden Letters. Aside from winning the normal way, players could also secure 3 of Tekken's perfect or great scores, also known as the Golden Letters, to win the entire set. These alternative win conditions allowed for the possibility of highly unorthodox comebacks. Last year's champion, Ayo Richie, narrowly missed out on top 4 after a defeat against Super Akuma. Meanwhile, JDCR made a beeline to the grand finals in the winner's bracket, going up against none other than Ni. Ni and JDCR have faced off against each other many times in the past, in some very tight sets, but sadly this wasn't one of those. Ni, coming from losers, swept JDCR in a straight 3-0, and then repeated the same scoreline after the bracket reset. So, congratulations to Ni, and thank you to Red Bull for once again hosting this unconventional and exciting tournament. And finally, in the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tour Finals, Fenriti beat Wade, who climbed all the way up from the last chance qualifier in a Grand Finals reset to become the DBFZ World Tour 2022-2023 champion. At the end of the tournament, it was also announced that rollback netcode for DBFZ would get a beta test on Steam around spring, while the official release would take a bit longer. Also, that another World Tour was on its way, and that a new patch was also in development. Great news for DBFZ fans all around. And that's that for this week's fighting game news. Please subscribe to stay on top of all current events in the world of fighting games. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. This has been Arya, and I'll catch you again next week.